It's Seeing Red, the New York Soccer Roundup. Since 2010, your weekly source for independent New York Red Bulls news and opinion. Now, from the Joe Goldstein studio, here's your host, Mark Fishkin.
The story of the 2025 Red Bulls is a team that cannot score or get points on the road all season long. And Saturday night, that trend continued, or actually Sunday morning here in the East when the Red Bulls dropped a 2-1 decision at Portland Timbers. They've got only 4 more opportunities to pick up points and climb back above the line. This weekend, they head to Montreal, who has already been eliminated, and maybe that'll be a better story. This week on Seeing Red, we'll do a look back at that loss in Portland, give our Bull of the Week. We'll do a reset of the playoff picture, which is not pretty. We'll preview the Red Bulls' visit to Montreal this weekend. We have a chat with newly signed Red Bulls backup goalkeeper John McCarthy that you're not going to want to miss, and your emails as well. I'm Mark Fishkin. I'm here with Mike Battista. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good. I wish the team was doing better, but I'm doing good.
Good. It's been Open Cup qualifying land for you, and Open Cup Final Four this week as well. So an exciting time for you.
Yes, it has been. I can't believe Philadelphia fell apart like that against Nashville last night. We have another one tonight, but Carney Scott's won against Real Central New Jersey over the weekend. So party and Carney party. Back in the day of MLS hashtags for each game, this was the hashtag porny game. Nevertheless, New York started out with a hardcore mistake as Tim Parker had a really bad giveaway. And I honestly don't recall. Look, Carlos Cornell has absolutely proven his worth. He's in the pantheon of Red Bulls goalkeepers all time. He makes ridiculous stops. He saves the team in penalty kick shootouts. He just badly misjudged a ball on Portland's first goal, watching it float by and land in the corner above him. New York had played well enough in the first half. They were having trouble connecting in the final third, which stopped me if you've heard this one before, away from home. And they went down 1-0 at half. And you thought, boy, Sandro Schwartz's second halves are usually better than their first halves because he makes great adjustments. Any thoughts, sir? It's interesting because, Sandro always adjusts. He does that frustrating thing where he will never make halftime subs. He just makes subs in like the 65th minute every game. So that means no, we're going to keep the starters out there, even though they're playing terribly. What I saw from my experience, what I saw in the first half was a team that did not expect a Portland team that has been slumping to be this fast and to be this aggressive. And I made a point that I think the last time Portland had won a game at home was technically July. But overall, since June, they hadn't won. They'd only won 2 games. And I know Leagues Cup's in there and above the pro stuff, but this was a team that was sliding down the Western Conference. And I don't ever want to say that the Red Bulls fell into a trap game because that's this weekend, not this one. But it almost felt like Portland was caught them completely off guard with an uppercut, and it threw them off the rest of the game.
Well, but New York was able to fight back. Some good possession in the attacking third. Edwards with a nice crossover to Dylan Nealis. The ball kind of bounced around, and it finds itself at Forsberg's foot, and he slots it home. The ball came off a Portland player, which negated any call for offside, although VAR took a look. But just like in the Philly Open Cup match, where New York took leads twice and conceded moments later, I mean, it's an adage in this game that you're never more vulnerable than right when you score. But I haven't seen a team just stop playing like the Red Bulls did. And Luca Corporene at Metro Soccer Report had a fantastic piece. He did a really great positional statistical look at this game. Ronald Doncourt. So to your point, Mike, in this game, Schwartz did make changes at halftime, pulling out Edelman and Stroud and putting on Donkor and Bergeron. And for a little bit, that seemed to kind of create a little more urgency going forward from the central midfielders. But at this particular moment, the Red Bulls have just scored, and there was a lengthy VAR review. It was literally seconds later of play. Portland restarts and immediately is working its way into the New York half. Donkor fails to close down a passing lane. Sofo doesn't track back, leaving Kevin Kelsey all alone to deliver a ball for the far post, where both Dylan Nealis was slow to track and Coronel was slow to move over. And, back post tap in. And that was really all she wrote.
Two things. One, this is why you should never mix Open Cup soccer with MLS, because, yeah, you're right. He did make it at halftime. It's just being a West Coast game, kicking off at 10:30. I completely forgot that. The other thing is, weren't both goals in the second half, weren't they both checked by VAR, and it felt like the announcers were talking about how they could be called back for offside? Like, it felt like, I remember hearing someone say, and this was not like it's some fan saying, and that, how fans talk, it almost felt like the Red Bull goal should have been called offside, and even if the Portland goal was fine, they were going to give it anyway because it was sort of pretty. So pretty,
Well, I mean, I give Forsberg credit. He knows what to do when he receives the ball in that position. He is good to score he's automatic from that point. And
also it hit off a guy.
Yeah, I mean, it hit off a Portland defender, so he wasn't offside. But nevertheless, I'm more concerned about the whistle blowing again and New York not being ready to play, because first of all, Carlos Coronel made a phenomenal save dropping to his right. He got right down on the ground. It was a sequence of 3 or 4 shots in the span of about 35 seconds. And for the Red Bulls, they just needed to clear it away and release a little bit of the pressure. And that's not what happened. And so New York's road woes continue. They are 0-10 this season when conceding first on the road. And you can make the argument, well, they don't have that many road games left. So that's a good thing. They've got 2 road games left.
Yeah, but they also have 2 home games left.
They have 2 home games left. All right, so is there a bowl of the match on the night where the mistakes in the back mask a nice break that the Red Bulls get in order to score their only goal?
I mean, if we're going by foot, Bob, it makes sense that Emil will be bowl of the match just because smart goal. He played well overall. It didn't feel like his normal thing of hitting field goals was happening as much. But I'll give it to him.
Yeah, I think that's right. Interesting to note, both he and Choupo-Moting are now tied in goals plus assists for the year with 17. They each have, in the case of Forsberg, it's 10 and 7. In the case of Choupo, it's 15 and 2. The next Red Bulls player has 5 goals plus assists, and it's Omar Valencia and Mohamed Sofo and our friend Cam Harper, who continues to recover from surgery. So, again, Sofo has been invisible through the whole second half of the season, as has Valencia, clearly. Sofo's getting playing time at the very least.
The problem is that I feel like I don't know how to logically put this into words, but I'll try my best. And it's that, how good is a team when you have 2 ringers and everyone else is just mid to bad?
Yeah.
Because the thing is we were a better team when back in 22 or 23, where there was no leading goal scorer. And it felt like someone had 5 goals, someone had 4 goals, own goal had 3.
Right. Everyone threw in. Everyone was on the even keel.
And then I just keep going back to the Open Cup loss where they sat these 2 guys. And then Sandro has to come on the mic and say, well, they can't play every game. God forbid we need them to play every game because we don't have the talent to play games.
There's no one else that's really contributing in a meaningful way. And it's not to say, I mean, there should be no derision point toward either of those guys. They've done exactly what they've been brought in to do, which is be productive on the attack, but they can't do everything every game, as you said.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Down the stretch they come. The stretch is getting shorter and shorter. Here is the remaining schedule for the remaining teams, for the contending teams. Keep in mind, the Red Bulls on 40. City plays tonight at home in a wet, drizzly Bronx, I believe. Yes, has to be the Bronx. The Mets are home against Columbus. With the 7-point lead, if City gets really any points at all, the odds that New York is going to be able to catch more than close this distance at any point, given the number of games that City has to play, is just not the case. It's not realistic. Even you can make the argument now, with only 12 more points on the table for the Red Bulls, the odds of jumping to 8th are almost nothing. They remain, New York, just 2 points behind Chicago, and the extra game here. I mean, when you look at what the Fire has to do, going to the Loons, not easy. Going to Miami, not easy. Those last 2 games, however, for Chicago, home for Toronto and at the Revs, who dumped Caleb Porter earlier today. That you
don't forget, Minnesota is going to be on short rest because they're playing tonight in the Open Cup.
That's right. So, I mean, it's clear for New York, they've got to win 3 of these games. They have to win 3 of these games.
They win 4. No. They have to win 4.
I think they can get through with. I think they go in at 49 points. I don't think 50 points are going to be necessary here. I really don't. I think Columbus is starting to get off the mat. They can help the Red Bulls by winning both of the games they have remaining before decision day. That is.
So we're Rossi and Lionel Messi fans now.
Yes, we are. We totally were. Just like we were City fans, as sad as it was, on Saturday night, watching them come back from 1 down to beat Chicago 3-1. I thought that was great. And as distasteful as it was to root for City,
I write for Hudson River Blue. My coworkers need to be happy sometimes.
All right. Fair enough. Let's talk about Montreal, shall we? Here we go. New York, with only 4 more chances to pick up points, the Red Bulls visit woeful. And I mean woeful. Like, you think we're having a bad season? How's 5-16-9? Woof. They're last in the East. CF Montreal. Do we say club to foot anymore? I don't know.
I do, but I also call them the Impact. They have like 5 names to me. Club de Foot.
Club de Foot. They've scored 29 goals in 30 games. That's not good. They've conceded 53 goals in 30 games. Also not good. The second worst attack in MLS, the third worst defense in the East. They've only had 4 clean sheets in 30 games. The Red Bulls have 9, by the way.
I don't want you saying that because I'm terrified of what's going to happen now.
Stop. You'll get your chance, young man. Montreal's only 2-8-5 at home. Easily the worst home mark in the league. At Stade Saputo. They're the only team that has not conceded a penalty so far this season, despite being 3rd in the league in yellow cards with 75 in 30 matches. However, when you look at the last 5 games they've played, you can make the argument that this is not terrible. 1-1 draws at home against both Atlanta and DC, who both have also been eliminated. This is a big win for them when you've only won 5 times all year. A 3-2 win against Austin. That's good stuff. And a 1-1 draw at Toronto in a misery bowl. What is this called? The Canadian Classique?
Classique, yes.
Both teams will miss the playoffs. It's very, very bad. And then last time out, a 2-0 loss to St. Louis. To talk about themes, to say this is a team in disarray is understating the term disarray. Montreal's been in terrible form all season as an organization for the last number of years. They did sneak into a play-in spot last season, but since then they've gotten rid of a number of key players. They haven't really replaced them. The addition of Ivan Jaime may help in the long run, but obviously this season has been a complete misery for Club de Foot fans. Laurent Conchois was fired in March. Former Montreal Marco Donadel, who old heads will know, has been interim head coach. He improved, in fact, because Courtois did not have a win and Donadel has 5. But I mean, Saputo, this is a team where it's a multi-club ownership situation, right? The Saputos also own Bologna. That's the club they focus on. Montreal picks up the scraps. It's not great. The 34th all-time meeting between these two teams, the Red Bulls lead slightly. This is one of those series where the Red Bulls do very, very poorly north of the border, and Montreal cannot win in Harrison. And this is really the way it's been of late, although consider the Red Bulls beat Montreal at home on Noah Ila's lone goal of the season, a header off a corner, to give New York the 1-0 win that night back in April. The Red Bulls are unbeaten in 4 in the series, but in Montreal all time, 2-10-3. Horrible. The last time these teams played in Montreal was a 2-2 draw last summer. And the goal scorers in that game was our friend Andres Reyes, and then an own goal, as you had mentioned. Good old own goal. Thierry Henry loved playing Montreal. He's the all-time leading scorer against the Blue and Black. And Wiki Carmona, he of a blistering editorial on Metro Fanatic this week, talking about how he is one of the least productive, if not the least productive midfielder in MLS this season, has 2 goals all time. Here is the lineup that Donadel may throw out. Thomas Gillier from Chile has 0 clean sheets. He's allowed 5 goals in the last 5 games. A backline of Luca Petrasso, who's been in Montreal for a while, a 25-year-old Canadian. Ephraim Morales, who came to Montreal from Atlanta in the middle of the season, has a goal. Brendan Craig, a young American who, is there for the poutine and not much else. David Bougouage, a Pole with 2 assists from the right back position. There are 3 central midfielders here. Matty Longstaff, who came from Toronto this year, has 1 assist. Samuel Piet, who is in the blink of an eye, is 30 years old, Mike. I remember when he was an up-and-coming player for Montreal and the Canadian national team. He doesn't have a point. He's the 6. And Victor Loturi, a 24-year-old Canadian, has 2 goals. Up top, this is not an completely impotent attack. Dante Sealy on the right with 6 goals and 2 assists from TNT. Prince Owusu, a 28-year-old German, has 16 goals and 3 assists for Montreal. He is by far the biggest threat on the club. And Ivan Jaime from Spain, 4 goals and 2 assists. Some of those stats were from Porto and Valencia, where he most recently sat. So we're back. It's got to be 3. If it's not 3 this season, while not mathematically, we'll basically be over this weekend.
It's funny to me because as you were talking, I just wanted to double check something, and they're not like they're 29th out of 30 teams on the Supporters Shield table, and below them is LA Galaxy, who is going to the CONCACAF Champions Cup next year, which God bless the Leafs Cup 3rd place game. But no, with Montreal, you're right. I put out an editorial a couple before the Portland game, pretty much saying your season, your fate depends on the next 2 games because you need these points in these 2 games. I don't even want to even if you get the gimme points against CF Montreal, it feels like the season's already over. I know it's not mathematical, but
no, it's not.
But it just feels like either they win this and okay, of course they're going to win this, or they lose this and it's par for the course this season. It feels like this team is just going to run out run out the clock on this.
You want to be able to make the derby next weekend to be meaningful. You want, obviously, you're going to go out there and try to win every single time, but I think they need to extend Red Bulls players' hopes into the derby. And I think they're having a buy 3, get 1 free ticket deal I've seen there.
They are.
You could hope for good weather. I mean, it could be a real spectacle in Harrison next Saturday night. And the way to make it meaningful, and you have to think, and listeners
Look,
can
the
poo-poo.
the blue team isn't going to bring any fans. Or let me rephrase that.
What?
The blue team will bring their supporters groups.
Right.
But I know for a fact that a lot of these like NYCFC fans, they don't want to make the trip over their jersey for their moral high ground reasons. Even especially when they play home
I'm not
games.
going to support my team. Are you crazy?
Yeah, and of course, right? It's they're in New Jersey, and it's not just when they play home games at Red Bull, which rents do, and that rent's going to come to an end pretty soon. But it feels like they're going to have their normal blue pile of fans in the top corner, right next to the new press box. Oh boy! But it just feels like NYCFC has so much. I don't want to say momentum because they're kind of in the Red Bulls situation of not being great and just fine, but
they've been winning games down the stretch.
they have been winning games down the stretch. If something feels off, something feels shaky about them.
I don't want to talk about them. What I want to talk about is the fact that the Red Bulls have to take the initiative. They have to come out streaming out of the opening whistle. They have to play a complete 90 minutes. They're literally, and you'll hear us talk with John McCarthy about this in a few minutes. They truly have nothing to play for except their jobs. They're playing for pride. They have 2 wins all season. New York doesn't do traditionally well there. This must be, I mean, we're down to it. They're 2 points behind Chicago. They're 2 points. They could be back above the line this weekend if all things go well. I do want to add, looking at Metro history, if New York does not make the playoffs, this has a chance to be the best team to not make the playoffs. They're one game under 500. They are not a bad team. They are a mediocre team. They are nothing special. They are not crushing it. They're not great. They're not terrible. They're just a middle of the road team that is unable to down the stretch to make things go. I think they're 2-3-2 in their last 7 games. They're just meh.
I'd love to see that adjusted for inflation, and by inflation I mean the growth of the league, because of how there's more teams, there's more games. I'm curious like how that would even
on
out,
a points per game basis.
Yeah,
they're at 1.33 now. They have made the playoffs on a 1.33 and a 1.30 in 2008 when they went to MLS Cup. They've made the playoffs on a 1.26 and a 1.22 points per game. They've made the playoffs. So that's for the stat heads.
Okay.
When we're back on Seeing Red, for the first time on Seeing Red, it's going to be number 23, goalkeeper, your friend and mine, John McCarthy. Great interview. And then we'll be back after that with email. So keep it here. On Seeing Red, the New York Soccer Roundup. Tonight's guest is a longtime MLS goalkeeper that has caused the Red Bulls and their fans a lot of pain over the years. Now, he's wearing the right colors, as you can see on your screen, or if you're listening, trust me, he's wearing a very, very attractive Red Bulls pullover. It's newly signed goalkeeper John McCarthy. John, welcome to Seeing Red.
What's up, brother? How you doing? Thanks for having me on, Mark.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. So I want Red Bull fans to really kind of understand your soccer journey. You're a Philly area guy. You've played at LaSalle. Talk to us a little bit about what growing up and becoming a keeper was like, and eventually moving to the pros. You have to be one of the few USL pro vets that are still in the after your time with Rochester. So just talk to us a little bit about your views of playing professional soccer as you were growing up.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for having me on. I'm a Philly kid through and through. Hopefully that doesn't piss off too many New York fans. But professional soccer for me, I remember watching the Premier League back in the day. I remember watching La Liga back in the day on Gold TV and Fox. Yep. Fox Soccer was it?
Sports World and
Fox Soccer, I think it was. Fox Soccer.
Fox Soccer channel.
You had to pay for that package. That was my Christmas gift one year, which was cool. So I always watched soccer all the time. My dad played college soccer as well at LaSalle University. My brother played college soccer as well. So we've been a big soccer family our whole life. Went on the journey from college LSL to Rochester to the Union to Tampa Bay Rowdies in the USL to Miami to LAFC to the Galaxy, and now back on the East Coast as close to being home as I can without being back in Philly. So it's been a bit of a journey.
I absolutely. You growing up in the Philly area, of course, there wasn't the Union yet, right? As you started to start your journey in college and all that. Were you a fan? Did you have an MLS team before the Union were formed?
No, I didn't. I didn't have like another team. I didn't like because it was also really small still at the time.
Yeah.
This is 13, no, probably 17 years, 18 years ago, actually, when the Union, like before the Union was started, because I actually went to open tryouts for the Union when I was in high school just to go and experience it. It was one of those things that like was the talk of the city and new team coming around and stuff like that.
But it wasn't like you were a DC fan or a Red Bulls fan.
No.
No, couldn't be bought. Not Philly. You don't want it. Anything part.
Definitely not a New York fan, if I got to clarify. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it wasn't another team. I'm a Man United fan. I was a big Man United guy. Edwin van der Sar, favorite goalkeeper of all time. I was Ronaldo, Paul Scholes, Giggs, stuff like that. Rio.
Tim Howard.
Tim Howard, yeah, he was a little bit like before, like I was early on and stuff like that when I just started really getting into soccer, like when I was like big and watching it and stuff like that. But I really grasped onto like Edwin van der Sar. He's my guy. He's a legend. He's one of the best to do it for me. So
yeah. So you join the Union as they get up and going. You had some epic battles against the Red Bulls in the Open Cup. Was that game was like moved to mid-afternoon, right? Because I think that Zlatan was playing an exhibition at RBA that day. Do you remember that game that I'm talking about? You faced the Red Bulls in the Open Cup.
I remember I faced you guys twice. I faced you guys once actually when I played on a PDL team back in the day.
Really? With Rochester?
Reading United. And Reading United was the PDL team.
How'd you do that day?
We lost 2-0. It was a bunch of college kids. Just to make it that far was cool. That was my first ever pro like stadium and stuff like that. So that was awesome. And then we played, and then obviously I played against you guys with Philly. And I don't remember. I have a picture with I think it's David Luiz walking out of the stadium. And was that after the Union game?
Yeah, it was after the Red Bulls Union. Then there was a European game. Yeah,
they were walking in as I was walking out, and I was like starstruck because Cavani and David Luiz are walking next to each other, and I was like, "Holy smokes, man!" Like it was a big time players. So yeah, I do remember that game.
So there's a subtle irony, of course, in the MLS Cup in 22, right? You found your way to LAFC. You're in one of the maybe one of the best matches I have ever seen. Back and forth, and Maxime Crepeau, who had done such a fantastic job, gets absolutely blown up. And coach looks at you and said, "Warm up and get in," and you deliver an unbelievable performance. Talk to us about what it was like, because Red Bull fans don't know. Talk to us a little bit about what it was like to lift that cup.
Well, thanks for the praise. That was a pretty good intro. I appreciate that. Yeah, like when you get thinking about that game, I like you said, it's one of those games that I don't think you can ever recreate or predict, or with what happened to, like, we go up 1-0, it goes to 1-1, we go up 2-1 in like the 80-something minute, and for sure in those moments, I actually have the chills thinking about it. Murillo head ball, you think you win. We all sprinted down the sideline.
Right.
Minute 30 seconds later, it's 2-2. And it's like, oh my God, like here we go, like going into overtime, and there were talks like in the weeks in advance of like, would I go in for PKs, would I not?
Wow.
And I still have a great relationship with Steve Trongelo and Oka Nikoloff and the coaching staff there. And all I asked was in that game, I said, if I'm going in, can you just give me a heads up? I just want to go take a pee. That's all. Like, I just want to go pee, because it's halftime pee. After the game, you don't get the pee again.
That's right. That's right.
And we went through the first overtime, and I was like, hey, am I going in or not? And this is like second overtime, getting close. to finish in and middle of it or something, and they started speaking in German, and leg broke, and I didn't really have. He didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice. And,
I mean, it was literally, there's an injury, get up, warm up now, right? You're
yeah,
going in.
yeah. And I was just sipping on energy drink the whole game to just like stay focused and locked in, and water and electrolytes and stuff. And it's crazy how it happened. And then we go down 3-2. Like the guy I played with, this guy Jack Elliott,
Yep.
sticks his 6'6" leg out after I make a save, and I thought I played 20 minutes. I only played a couple minutes, and I haven't watched the game back still, and I don't want to watch it back until I like have to. Like want to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And when that goes in, I was devastated, But I think everyone knows when you're down a man for some reason, you always get one chance. Always, like in a game, you red card. It doesn't matter if it's you go down a man in the 13th minute or the 80th. Like,
Right.
if you get a chance. And Gareth Bale had the chance of a lifetime, and I'll never forget that view looking down the field and the sound of that stadium, and the chills running through my body again was just incredible. And then was able to help the team out and work it out in PKs, and winning and lifting MLS Cup it's insane. It's one of the best feelings in the world. It's everything you worked for. It's everything you dreamed of. And being from Philly, it's unfortunate that I did it to a bunch of the people that coached me and helped me and was teammates with, but I want to change it for the world. And on that day, I gave everything. I'll give everything for who I play for. So,
I mean, and I want to talk about last season's MLS Cup as well. But I mean, for Philly, I mean, you literally cannot get closer to winning MLS Cup than they did on that day. And I just did want to ask you, like, coming off the field, obviously you're named MVP of the game. It's a folk hero moment. And I mean, looking across the field at Curtin and the Union, what were the emotions like?
Like I said, and I always say this, like the assistant coach was my college teammate, Ryan Richter. Like Jimmy Curtin and I used to play pickup at the end of his career in Philadelphia. Like he was my second pro coach behind the Rochester Rhinos, but he was one of the reasons why I went to Philly. And we have a great relationship. My wife coached his kids when we lived in Philly. Like I knew about 7 or 8 guys on the team still. My goalkeeper coach at LAFC was the goalkeeper coach when I was in Philly together. So there was a relationship there. And
yeah,
it's one of those things where I wish it wasn't against Philly. But when I stepped on the field, I didn't care it was against Philly. I don't care who it was against, like I'm play to win. And so after the game, it was, I made sure I gave the guys, the training staff, the coaching staff a hug and a high five. And they congratulate me. And I just had a great season, guys. And tough one to be on that end of it. So
you find yourself on the Galaxy 2 years later. The one question I want to ask you about MLS Cup is, was that a penalty in injury time when Elias Manuel got blown up in the box, seemingly without a call?
In the game, I had no idea what they were reviewing.
Okay.
And I had no clue.
Okay.
In the game, because I wasn't looking that, like I couldn't see.
You were focused on the ball, right?
Exactly. After the game, if they gave a PK, it wouldn't have been like, oh, how is that a PK?
Right.
I think it's one of those ones where it's a coin toss. Like it can be called, it might not be called. Is he going to get the ball when you watch it back? I don't know. Is he not? It's one of those like in between calls. So Red Bull fans probably all to this day are saying it is a PK. But I'm extremely happy that it wasn't on that day.
So there aren't too many multiple MLS Cup winners that have played for this franchise. Obviously, the circumstances of you coming to the team, how much notice did you have before news of the trade came through this summer?
Yeah, not much. It wasn't like it was unfortunate, and I know AJ. We trained in Philly back in the day a little bit.
He's also a Philly area guy.
Yeah. Just outside of Philly, grew up in Westchester. And we trained in the off season when he was trying to get out of college and make it pro as well. So that's how we met originally. So when his injury happened in the Open Cup game, Open Cup game, super devastated for him because he's such a great kid, and
Yes.
I've been in the same position as he was, of being a backup and waiting for your time and putting your shift in. And it seemed like he had a good run of games in the League Cup, from what I heard, and then for that to happen, it was super unfortunate. So pretty much within like 48 hours of that happening, it was just like a quick, we need a goalkeeper who's on the market type of thing. My agent, sporting director, coaches, all figured it out, and I found out when I was down in Miami that there could be a possibility that it could
Hmm.
happen, and I was open to it because I'm from Philly, my wife's from New York. It's a great,
Closer to home.
yeah, it's a great place. It's a great situation. So
Well, we're very happy to have you. Talk to us a little bit about joining Red Bulls. I mean, obviously, this season hasn't gone the way that I think the team has wanted. There's obviously this DNA within the team of making the playoffs. They've only missed the playoffs 4 times in 30 years. You guys
wow.
find yourself 2 points out with 4 to play and a lot of scoreboard watching with other teams with games in hand. What's the atmosphere around camp with these 4 matches left?
Yeah, so joining the team, I knew a couple of guys coming in, being around the league and stuff like that. I'll dabble on your first part of the question before I
Yeah,
get to the
yeah.
second part. I knew Dylan and Lewis playing in Miami together.
Sure.
Lewis is a great friend of mine. We talk monthly throughout the season, shooting jokes and catching up.
That's
Then
great.
I met Sean through Dylan, obviously, and Tim and I know each other from being in the league. But so it's nice knowing a few guys because when I went to Galaxy, I didn't know anybody. So it is a little bit reassuring and easier to be accepted or joke with the guys, and the guys have been great. I think the team's been great. I think it's a really good group, and pushing into the playoffs and stuff like that. I think I've only been here for 3 games, so I can't
Sure.
really. I only got 3 game input for you guys so far. I think Charlotte was unfortunate. I think a draw would have been a draw is a real fair result. I think we
Yes.
deserved that one.
Agreed.
A draw at home against Columbus, maybe we could have got 3 there. I think that we all agree with that. But when you get a big result against a team that has been on a great run for the last 5-6 years in Columbus, you take what you can get in late stretches of the season. You got to take points where you can get them. And Portland, I think it was a tale of 2 halves. I think up and down in the first half, and the second half, I thought we took it to them. It wasn't they weren't peppering us. They didn't. The ball wasn't flying down on our end of the field. Most of the time, it was in their half, and we created a couple of chances. They had a couple balls cleared out of the box or inside the 6, and just one of those things of sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way, or you're off on the day of missing the final pass or something like that. That's part of the game. That's part of life. And get touching on this final playoff push. I don't see why not. It's in our hands. Like every game matters. So I think everyone knows every game from here on out is a playoff game. There's no real game that you can look at and go, that's an easy 3 points. That's an easy 3 points. Every game matters. And I think the most important thing right now, and for the next 4 games, is we don't have 4 games. The only game that matters is Montreal. You don't look past Montreal. You don't think about what Chicago does. It doesn't matter what Chicago or New York or Miami, whoever is on the verge of that cusp of, it's only what we can do against Montreal, because that's all we can control.
I want to talk about Montreal because, I mean, we've been listening to Sandro is as by the book focused as any coach that this team has had. Yesterday doesn't matter. Tomorrow doesn't matter. Only today matters. That's a fact of life in professional sports anyway. It just matters that you bring your best performance on the day. Montreal's the worst team in the East. They're looking to next year already. And they have nothing to lose. On paper, we're fond of using it's kind of a jinxy term around here on Seeing Red. We say there's no reason, right? That with all the stats pointing in one direction, there's no reason that this result shouldn't go well. What are the dangers as a veteran of coming in and playing a team where you need the points desperately? The other team has nothing to play for except pride.
Yeah. There's 2 ways of looking at it. One, like you said, it's a dangerous game. The other way of looking at it is you can create pressure out of nothing. But for me, there shouldn't be any pressure on us, and there's definitely no pressure on them. And the reason I say that for us is because we put work in the week that I believe, and that's how I train. I train every single day as hard as I can. I give everything I can, and the only thing that matters to me is winning. So in every play, every save, I don't like getting scored on. Yeah, in training, you're going to get scored on left and right. It's life. But I get angry. I care. I demand a lot from the guys in front of me because I think I hold myself to a high standard. So if we put the work in the week, then when you go out on the weekend, the work's already been done in the week. It should be easy just to go out there and execute. Not easy, but it should be the right mentality to go out there and execute because the right mentality was all week. So it is one of those games, though, where, like you said, Montreal has nothing to lose. And I came from LA Galaxy as well.
Right.
We had one of the toughest seasons that you could possibly have. So I know exactly where that mindset is of well, let's just go and do guys are like, oh, well, here's another game. What's it matter to us? We're 8 games left. There's nothing to play for. League Cup was LA Galaxy season. Montreal literally has had nothing this season. So for them, we got to go out there, foot on the gas, and believe in our game plan and stick to our strong mentality that we know what it takes to win.
You've been very generous with your time. There are 2 more questions quickly I want to ask
you. You're good,
you.
man. You're good.
Great. What is you've become known as a penalty kick specialist over the course of your career. How did you develop that skill in particular? Obviously, all goalkeepers face penalty kicks, but there's something magical that happens when you're in a penalty kick shootout. And I don't know your record per se, but needless to say, you've been phenomenal over the course of your career. What is it about what you have learned that allows you to be better than proficient at this particular skill?
I wish I would have met you years ago, man. You praised me a lot. I appreciate that. Jeez.
We're happy to have
you. Got to talk to the other reporters about me. Jeez. I can't tell you too much. I don't really like to talk about PKs. I don't like to focus on them too much. I don't think about them too much. I have my ways and my theories. And like from when I put you guys to that PK shootout, I've had a couple more in my career I've won and the LAFC one. So I don't want to give too much away. I have a couple of nicks and knacks that it just comes down to field day stats, whatever you're thinking, talking to your goalkeeper coach. There's a couple things that you can take into factor, and there's a couple things that I've learned, and I'll keep those ones to
you'll keep those state secrets. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then lastly, John, I just want to talk to you about what you've seen from Carlos. Carlos very well, not so quickly. I mean, he is he's let's start again. The team has had some unbelievable goalkeepers play for them over the 30 years of this team. Tony Meola, of course, was the team's first. Tim Howard, Luis Robles. I mean, in this particular area, the team has really had a fantastic feel for this position, and Red Bull fans have been fortunate. Carlos Coronel, from a statistical standpoint, is right up with these guys in terms of his proficiency over his time with the team. Talk to us a little bit about your relationship with him. Has he been welcoming you in, and what you've learned from him, if anything, since you've been here?
Yeah, Carlos is great, man. He's done a phenomenal job for you guys. I mean, obviously, you guys went to MLS Cup final over the last few years. You've done great throughout the season and throughout playoffs, and he's been one of those stable points that he's obviously been around for 4 years.
Yes.
3-4 years, for a reason. There's not many guys that you go, we can rely on him. He's been good. I feel like he's been one of those guys that you can count on, and he's done that for you guys over the last 3-4 years, and we've been great. I mean, I'm stepping into a new position, a new role, and we've talked about he experienced Philly just like I did. It's a couple of guys and stuff like that, so there's a connection there. So we're able to hit it off, and I try to help him out when I can and talk to him. But he's a good goalkeeper for a reason, obviously, and add on he's going to the World Cup, which is phenomenal. But and I congratulate him on that. That's a dream of mine, and I'm sure it's a dream of his. So he's a good dude, works hard, gets the job done when he has to get called upon, and I hope he can keep doing good things, and I hope I can keep pushing him and be ready if need be.
Awesome. John McCarthy wears number 23 for the New York Red Bulls. John, was there something behind that number?
No, nothing. I wanted 77, but Audrey's a young kid. It was his first time signing. He picked 77. I said, I'll see you at the start of next season, buddy. So no, we figured things out. I'm not 77 would be my number of choice if I had to choose. So
Awesome.
We'll see what happens.
It's been great getting to know you, my friend. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight.
Of course. Thanks, Mark. Pleasure to meet you, and hopefully meet more Red Bull fans.
Awesome. We've got more Seeing Red coming up after this short break, so please keep it here. We are back. It's Seeing Red, the New York Soccer Roundup. If you're watching this long, please do us a favor and give us a like, give us a subscribe. You can write us anytime you want at seeingredny@gmail.com. The fans are beat up at this point. The fans they've turned off a little bit. I think they're thinking the inevitable. A lot of fans, Mike, say that the team needs to miss the playoffs so there is a reckoning in the front office and that things will be different if they don't make the playoffs. Do you believe things will be different if they don't make the playoffs?
Short term, no. Long term, possibly. I don't think that in the short term, Jokin is going to change his strategy of this being his team and try and do what he wants with it. I think long term, you could have a crack in something that eventually grows. And I'm not saying they have to miss the playoffs 2 to 3 years and become the Chicago Fire.
Jeez.
I'm just saying that it could boil over into more and more decisions down the line.
All right. I like it. Here's Trevor Marine with our lone email. And I said I think that the fans are done because the email bag has been painfully empty, but we are very happy that longtime writer, listener, viewer Trevor Marine, who writes, "Dear Mark and Mike, last night perfectly captured how the season has gone. Bad giveaways in our own half? Check. Giving up an early goal with multiple players caught ball watching? Check. The team completely switching off after scoring a goal? Check. An invisible midfield until Berggren and Donkor came on? Check. Edwards looking like Marcelo 1 minute and then Patrick Segrist the next?
Ooh, there's a guy.
Check. That's a deep goal. Portland signs 2 internationals in Velde and Rojas, and they have immediate impacts for their team. We signed 2 youth internationals that don't even travel with the first team. Sandro insists on starting Carmona, Sofo, Edwards, and Stroud every week, and most of them haven't had a meaningful impact in months. Thinking back to 21 and 23 when this team snuck into the playoffs by playing gritty Red Bull soccer and getting results down the final stretch, but I just do not see it with the squad. Between the front office's ineptitude and the players' body language, I've never seen this organization wave the white flag on the season the way they have this year. We've never needed a hard reset more than we do this winter. Thank you for all you do. Put in all the work you put in every week, helping the fans stay informed and engaged, certainly more than the team is doing." That's a disillusioned fan. Mike, what do you say?
2 things. One, I'm not going to defend him. I will say that Edwards is playing better than he has been beginning of the season. I will give him that. And if you listen back to past Seeing Red episodes, I have been very hard on him. I will say that he's played better. It's not great, but I'll give him that. And I don't know how much he's not an impact player, but I see your point. The second is that you are not going to see a hard red set this winter because the team has sunk too much money into their 2 DPs. They've sunk too much time into Emil and to promoting. But I don't think you can have a hard reset while those 2 guys are the total show, the package deal. Now, bring in Timo Werner if that happens, or whoever the third DP is going to be. Who's the third man?
Yes.
That's not even a hard reset. A hard reset is changing up the entire structure underneath them. And I don't see that happening just because they don't make the playoffs. I see that happening during next season. Like as the season goes on, things will change. But I don't see it happening in an off season when you've sunk your future on these 2 guys and possibly a third if he comes over.
Consider that Berggren obviously will be here next year. you have to think that whether Lewis Morgan is actually able to make any impact at all through these next 4 games. He did not obviously dress for Portland. If you think he's ready to go in a perfect world, Cam Harper is back and healthy, hopefully by the start of the season.
Yeah.
And then you've got some interesting attacking options with a more integrated central midfielder. Perhaps Marcelo Morales, is ready to go from minute 1. I would make the argument that Carmona, his time with the team should be done. I mean, he literally is a player that wears the uniform and plays. He's added nothing. As an old former fan of the team said, he's the bay leaf. Like, you don't miss him. He doesn't add anything. He's like a garnish. He's just kind of there.
It's weird that are you done? Can I say something?
Yeah, no, it could be done. Sure.
I'm just gonna say that it's very weird that Lewis Morgan leaving this team, possibly, because I do think his time as a New York Red Bull is done. I don't think that the team should invest in him anymore. And it's weird to me that him leaving isn't a hard reset because of how on and off he's been for the past 3 years.
Yes.
It's just like, this was a man who came from Inter Miami, pre-Messi Inter Miami, the dog pile of Miami, and found a second wind with New York. And it felt like he was going to make himself a king.
Mm-hmm.
And he just never was able to stay consistent. And I shout out Daniel Rebane. He was on the ball saying they should have got rid of him last year.
Mm.
And it's just very strange to me that he could be gone, and that's not the hard reset that Trevor was talking about.
Yeah, I get it. I don't think we did predictions for Saturday night.
We did
in
not.
Montreal. Do you have a thought, sir?
I'm going to just say it's a 1-0 win, just because it's a 1-0.
It has to be.
Kick. It's a penalty kick.
It's a penalty kick win
because they haven't given one up this year.
Oh, that's
I'm the kind of guy where a commentator curse happens. And if it's a penalty kick, that means it's Choupo-Moting, because he's the one who takes penalty kicks.
This team concedes lots of goals, a goal and a half a game. They score less than a goal a game. Montreal does. I think it's a 3-1 win for the Red Bulls that sets up a very interesting derby match on the 27th, because I think the fans deserve one more day out before another, white knuckling final 2 matches of the season. So
look, CF Montreal didn't win 2 straight games against Forge FC of the Canadian Premier League. I mean, this team
break them up.
Break them up. This team is sad. So as much as I love the CPL, like, this team is treading water. So the Red Bulls should win this.
Oh boy, now you've done it. We'd like to thank Zach Feldman for stats, John McCarthy for stopping by and sharing a little bit about his background. He's a great interview. My friend Mike as well, who calls it a 1-0 win on the first penalty kick conceded by Montreal all season. I call it 3-1 win. If it's not, going to be a hot take email bag next week. Let's go Red Bulls. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.